Can I be a PM into my late 50s? Principal PMs are making over $1 million USD. Can I be a PM into my late 50s? And I think that one of the things to consider is that you don't necessarily need to go into the management track, which is like this management track I think is kind of overrated, to be honest, because as you go into these VP roles, actually tenure decreases. So if you look at like the average tenure by role in product management, the highest tenure is in the junior roles, but if you look at like principal PMs, staff level PMs, these people often they have the longest tenures. They're the most respected people. And if we start to think about a world where more and more products infuse AI into them, there's going to need to be these very respected staff and principal level PMs who can work with these AI researchers and these AI engineers. So my forecast is that the tenure and size of these staff and principal roles is only going to grow. So you could also just think about focusing on the craft of product management itself. And if you look at, for example, Google. So at Google, your average principal PM is making more than your average group product manager. And in the US, those numbers, principal PMs are making over $1 million USD when you count all the value of their stocks. So they're in the 0.0001% of earners in the United States. So from my perspective, I think that that's a very attractive career path.
Yes. So you should look at the leverage in your career, because if you are, let's say, a new BPM, maybe you can, because of the scope that is limited, you can only maybe touch few points in your product or features. But when you get into group, principal, VP level, you have that leverage. So, and that leverage will not be, let's say, it will not come your way. You have to go ahead and break some doors and improve your craft in order to go ahead and do something. And like many people also ask me that, how do I go ahead and improve that craft? Okay. So before I could add something, I would want to know from Aakash, like how do I, as a PM, if I want to, let's say, get into a VP role or a very senior good role where I can get paid maybe $1 million, what should I do for that? How should I improve my craft?
How to advance? Okay, so the first thing, even though we create content, is like I don't think content is going to be your vector to growing and improving as a PM, as much as feedback, and two types of feedback. Okay, so the first is your performance reviews, right? We all get these performance reviews, and I found when I was a VP and director that people didn't necessarily improve on their performance feedback as much as I would want. In fact, like cycle after cycle after cycle, the same people would get the exact same feedback. Okay, this person, he's just not good at working with designers, or this person, his product sense is off, or this person is not writing very good feature result write-ups after experiments. And it would just keep coming cycle after cycle after cycle. So that's my first recommendation, is for you to think about, how do I truly improve on the feedback that I've gotten in my performance review? How do I make sure that next performance review, this weakness is not cited? Because in your company's eyes, in your HR's eyes, in the people's eyes, in these promotion committees, that performance review is really the thing. The VP who's 10 teams away from you, he's not interacting with you all the time. He's not seeing how you're behaving. And so it's that promotion committee when he hears about you, and whatever feedback he heard last time, that's still what's on his mind. So usually for me, when I would speak up in promotion communities when I was a VP of product, I would always ask, like, okay, well, Ankit, I heard that Ankit wasn't writing good feature result write-ups. How were his feature result write-ups? Pull up one of his feature result write-ups. I want to take a look at it right now. And then I would look at it, and I would look at the craftsmanship on that feature results write-up. Did he have a true hypothesis before he started the experiment? Did he look at not just the North Star and secondary metrics that he talked about as a result of the experiment, but that he went and looked at the session replays? And he said, okay, these are some other areas and metrics and guardrails that I want to look at. And did he pull those metrics? And instead of just pulling those metrics, did he look at what is the variance of that metric over time? Did this feature really come outside of 2 standard deviations of the variance of that metric? There's so much science that you can put into any given PM artifact. Maybe it's your PRDs. So in your PRDs, is it that you aren't identifying the core problems to solve? Then are they getting really good at identifying those core problems to solve? What I see is that any PM skill, PRDs, feature result write-ups, stakeholder management, product sense, that like every 1 to 2 years I'm getting so much better at these core PM skills, because I think there's an infinite learning curve. And I probably didn't get my eyes open to this until I worked at Google, when I started to see what, real craftsman product managers, what their PRDs look like. Somebody recently, Nan, the head of product at Linear, yesterday on Twitter, he posted his PRD template. That was eye-opening for me too. I was like, wow, there's something I can learn there. So keeping that learning mindset, I only have 16 years of PM experience. So looking at someone that came with 25 years of PM experience and then saying, okay, wow, like this is what that next level is.